recording right away. So, good evening, everyone. It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor.io, and in today's tutorial, we we're going through the course BFN209. We'll do it in the Telegram class. We've walked through, all right, the course during the week, and here on Telegram, we usually have weekends, walk through the course, expanding more like discussion. So the students who are taking classes during the week on this particular course get to expand, get to explain, get to talk about what they've gotten so far, and we rub minds together. All right. So I have Miss Sunday with me, Mrs. Sunday, and I have Mrs.
Sorry, we can't hear you.
In today's class. You can't hear me?
Yes,
Can
I'm
you hear me
hearing
now?
you now.
If we can increase the volume a bit.
I should increase. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm doing that right away. It's on 100% now. Can you hear me now?
So,
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Awesome. So I will have Miss Wumi open the floor. Let's hear from Miss Wumi. So you walk us through your notes. Let's know what you've gotten. And I'm going to have my own notes here with me as we walk through it together. So Miss Wumi, you have the floor.
Okay. The nature of the finance.
Okay, the first volume, starting from the first class. Miss Wumi?
Yes, that's the volume 1. Volume 1.
Yes, please. We are with you, man. You can continue. Let us know what you have there. Starting from volume 1.
Nature of finance.
Okay.
May be defined as the provision of money at the time required.
Okay. So what do you understand by that?
Okay. When it comes to finance, sorry, my network
Miss Wumi, we
is
can't
bad.
hear you.
Network is bad. My network is really bad.
We can hear you now. You can continue now, please.
Okay, I said the finance may be defined as the provision of money at the time it is required.
Good. So I need you to explain. I know that's what you have in your notes, which is wonderful, but I need your own input. When we say finance, what are we talking about? From your own input, this is more like ensuring you understand what we are talking about. So from your own input, a little bit different from what you have in your note, what do you think finance is?
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I think I'm
it involves the allocation of resources.
Wonderful. The allocation of resources. Yes. Miss Sunday, do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay. Just before we move a little bit further, Miss Sunday, can we get your input of what finance is all about?
She rightly said that finance is the provision of money at the time required. It can also be seen as raising money. It's fundraising or monetary activities. That's also finance.
Wonderful. Okay, please, Miss Sunday, Miss Rumi, continue, please. I think we are okay on finance. And I think one thing we need to understand is that finance also can be interchangeably, all right, used with money, all right. Money and finance, they work hand in hand. You might have heard that there is no money, we cannot execute a project. The same thing goes as if there is no, all right, the same thing goes with if there is no finance, we cannot execute a project. So money and finance work hand in hand. Now, considering the fact that Oyekami in 2003 said something, Miss Wumi, can you help us with what Oyekami highlighted about the said topic
Okay.
in 2003?
Okay, he said money affairs or money matters.
Okay, very well. Please, can you expatiate on that?
In all forms of money or near money. Like example, debt,
Yes,
cash.
yes. About. Can you hear me? About what Oyekami said. Can you please explain what it means to us? Can you expatiate on that? Okay. Please, Miss Umi, you can unmute yourself. You are the one taking us. Don't mute yourself, please. Okay, I think Miss Umi is having tough time with her network. Miss Sunday, please, can you take over from where she stopped? Miss Donald, can you hear me? Miss Donald, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you. Hello?
I think Miss Umi is having tough time with her network. Yes, I can hear you, ma.
Okay.
I think Miss Wumi is having tough time with her network. Please, you can take over. I asked the question. I said Oyekami said something in 2003 about the said topic, finance. Can you please tell us what he said and also expatiate on that?
Okay. Oyekami states that finance is money affairs or money matters. It means that it is a finance is anything that involves money
Very good.
and everything
Hmm. On
and
the
everything we need to do.
yes, please go ahead, ma.
Okay. And anything we are doing will have to involve money. That's what I understand.
Very well. Thank you very much for that. Now, in view of that, he said money affairs or money matters. Now, you remember when I said we can use the term, excuse me, we can use the term finance interchangeably with money. All right.
Money, yes.
What he said, 2003, according to Oyekami, just confirms that anything that has to do with money, anything that cannot be done without the input of money, we can say that money there is a strengthener. All right. Money there is the go ahead, which is tantamount to finance. All right. So thank you very much. Please let's continue. Now, can you take us through what you have on the brief evolution of finance? All right. Do you have anything on that? The brief
Yes.
evolution of finance.
Okay. In my understanding that finance evolved from economics and it was also a branch of economics. But in the later part of the 20th century, it was separated
Yeah.
as its own discipline.
Wonderful. Yes.
And initially, finance was seen as bookkeeping, receipts, payment, bonds.
Yes.
That was
Wonderful.
how finance was seen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. Please go ahead, ma.
Okay, and I also have rules of finance.
No, no, no. Before you get there, there are a
Okay,
lot of things you have more said about the evolution of finance. Now, you said something about finance evolving. All right. Now, when we say finance evolved from economics, what does it mean, please?
okay. It means that
Are you with me, ma?
finance as I'm hearing you.
Okay.
It means that it wasn't a separate course or a
Please go ahead,
separate
ma.
discipline. I think it's network. You're saying something.
Okay. Yes, yes. I think you have a point there. Miss Wumi, can you please make your contribution now? Is your network a bit stable? Miss Wumi, can you make your contribution, please? Is your network stable now? Miss Wumi, are you there? Okay, now I think she still having issues with her network. So now I asked the question: what does it mean by saying finance evolved from economics? Now, okay, Mr. Alfred is here. Okay, that's good. So now, what I meant, according to what Mrs. Donald said, she said finance was not a straightforward course. Now, to add to what she has said, what I believe she meant was that finance came out, all right? It wasn't a course on its own, all right? Like economics gave birth to finance, all right? And you know, when we talk about economics, some even call economics stingy people, all right? And I'm of the opinion that they are not stingy, they are frugal. You know, there's a difference between being frugal and being stingy. And you see, economists, they are very particular about resources. Don't forget that to them, resources are limited and there are unlimited things that these limited resources available need to be used. All right. So managing of resources is therefore very important, which has to do, all right, with managing that particular resources available. And don't forget, we said something about finance. That without finance, no project can be executed. So can we now say finance can be seen as resources to the execution of every project? Are we on the same ground? Do we agree to that, or we oppose that? Miss Sunday Donut, can you say something about that?
Yes, you're right. Because in any project you want to do, you need finance. Even if you don't have, you have to sort for it to execute that project. So you're right.
Wonderful, wonderful. Mr. Alfred, you are just joining, but I think we've had this class together before now. What do you have to say about the said topic? Can you hear me, sir?
So I'm
Okay.
just entering the house. Just give me some time to put myself in.
Okay, very well then. Miss Wumi, is your network stable now? Can you make your contributions? Okay, I think Miss Umi is still struggling with our network. So now let's continue. So thank you very much, Mrs. Donald Sunday on for that. So now that we understand that finance evolved from economics, all right, it says here it evolved from economics as its branch in the early part of 20th century, but later became a discipline on its own. All right, economics has a lot of things a lot of things that makes it what it is. Okay, it has. What's your problem? Excuse me, please. I need to just a moment, please. I think we are good to go now. So, as I was saying, there are a lot of things involved when it comes to economics. All right. So, having finance and economics in the same boat, all right, might not really fit well. And that's why we have finance separated from economics itself. Finance is a course on its own that has a lot to do with, okay? Even though economics is more like the umbrella whereby you can still find finance, where we have banking and finance, where we have management, where we have uh, other things that has to do with management and economics. So we have that as that. So now let's move forward. Even as we have seen here that finance was initially concerned mainly with bookkeeping, all right, mainly with keeping of records of receipt and payment daily simply on bonds, debentures, and bank. All right. In our last class, we talked about what debenture is. Miss Donald, do you want to say something about what it means by debenture and what it means by bond?
Okay. The the difference when we are talking about bond, we are talking about the certificate that state the amount of money lent to a bondholder to a company.
Okay.
It,
Okay.
yes, it shows the amount
Yes.
that was given to the company.
Okay. So now, from what
Now
you
for
said, I can underline two things. Yes, please continue.
okay, sir. Then the next one, the venture. Is there much different?
Yes, we have very few differences.
Okay. Not getting
Okay.
much different.
I think okay. We'll get back to that. Mr. Alfred, do you want to say something about bond and debenture?
Good evening, sir.
Do you want to say anything about the venture and bond?
My understanding is credit own, while the venture are certificates, which state the amount of credit owned. And a lot of debt owned, sorry,
Okay, I
not
think we
credit.
all debt. Okay, I think we have an idea. Thank you very much for that. Miss Winnie, do you want to make your contributions now? Miss Winnie, are you there?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. You have the floor.
Hello, sir.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead,
Sir?
please.
What do you think, sir? I have issue.
Yeah, we were asking about what it means by debenture and what it means by bond.
You said bond.
Yes, bond and debenture.
It's just like maybe loans money to a borrower.
Okay,
Bond is just
okay.
like a
Now,
loans money to a borrower.
thank you very much. We all are in line. Now, this is it. We've been talking about finance, and we said without finance, nothing can be done. Now, we talked about the evolution of finance. Now, when we say without finance, nothing can be done, definitely finance will always not be available. Don't forget we said something about economics and we said something about managing limited resources, in as much as there are a lot of things to be done with these limited and scarce resources. So therefore, talking about bonds and debenture now, considering where we are coming from, we are simply seeing bond and debenture as financial instruments. Please underline that both bond and debenture, they are all financial instruments. Now, the little difference that is there between them is that one is shorter and one is longer. All right, and one is more. Both of them are loans. All right, loan facilities, loan securities. All right, and they are used to generate finance by companies, by organizations to do what needed to be done. All right. So the little difference between one is that when we talk about debenture now, debenture is more like a long term. All right. It's more like a long term debt instrument. All right. And companies use it to raise capital. Are we together? Please note that it's more like that's debenture. It's more like a long time. All right. It's more like a long term debt. All right, which companies use to raise capital. While we have bonds as investment securities, all right, whereby investors lend money. All right, it's more like we say, come and buy my shares, come and buy my shares. Now, these shares, I'm selling them to you, all right, and you are buying them from me. For me now, I am making money, all right, and over time, these shares are sold to you would therefore yield money, all right? The money which you use in getting it and some profits. So it's a win-win for the two of us. Now, bond has a maturity date, all right? When it is mature, then you as a shareholder, you get your cuts out of it. I don't know if you understand that. Do we get that?
Please explain the bond again.
Okay, now, bond is more like an investment, all right? Investment. Now, let's say, for example, I want to go into a business. Probably I want to be selling cars and I don't have enough capital. So I call you up, come and invest in my business. Invest at 100 naira per unit. Buy my shares at 100 naira per unit. And I will give you a maturity date whereby when it gets to the maturity date, your bond will yield profits for you. So you are investing, but that investment is more like a loan to me, which I will pay you back with interest when it is mature. All right. Now it says that bonds are investment security where an investor lends money to buy a company. All right. A company or government shares. Are we good? Are we all on the same page? Miss Bumi, Mr. Alfred, Miss Donald Sunday, are we good to go?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Wonderful, wonderful. So, Mr. Alfred, can you walk us through what you have in your notes on role of finance? Mr. Alfred, are you there, sir? Okay. I think Mr. Alfred, can you hear? Okay, Miss Wumi, I think you can continue now. You are actually walking us through what you have in your note. You can just take it up from the role of finance. Do you have anything on the role of finance? Miss Wumi, can you hear me? Okay, Miss Sunday,
Yes, sir.
Mrs.
Yeah,
Okay,
I can
please you
hear
can.
you.
Okay, Miss Wumi, you can continue now, sir. Miss Wumi, you can continue now, please. What question you have on role of finance?
Hello, sir.
Yes, I need to work out what you have on role of finance.
Finance, okay. It can be linked to a lubricant.
Okay,
To a
continue, please.
lubricant. Too little of it. Too little of it can make a business right. So,
Wonderful. Now, underline the word lubricant. Can you expand that in comparison, all right, in line with what we are talking about, which is finance? What does finance
because
has to do with
okay, it's been like
lubricating?
okay, like reducing cost and increasing efficiency.
Okay, you have a point there. Thank you for that. Mrs. Donald, do you want to say something about comparing, all right, finance with that of what lubricant does?
Okay. A lubricant is just like saying it's an oil. Let's use oil. When it is less, it can cause a friction, and it can make things get to unroll. Then, if it is excess,
Wonderful.
it can also make one use money unnecessarily. You have unnecessary projects, you use money excessively, even when you don't need it. Because it is excess.
Wonderful, wonderful. Mr. Alfred, do you agree to what she just said?
Okay, yes.
I need
Let me
to also
just tell
make
you
your
what I know. Yeah, what I know
uh,
about the role of finance is finance can be likened to money. Then too little of it, too like the issue of the lubricant you talked about, too little of it can lead a business on or while too much of it can lead a business to waste. meaning investing in projects that are not necessary. So money need to be scarce.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Now, I believe we all know about what it means by inflation and what it means by deflation.
Inflation is when there is excess of money. When there is excess, when there is rise in price of goods as a result of excess money circulation.
Wonderful. And the opposite.
The opposite is deflation.
Okay. Miss Sunday, do you want to say something about deflation?
Inflation is when there is excess money, excess flow of money. While deflation is when there is less or not enough money in circulation.
Now, you know I said something about inflation and deflation. Yes, sir.
Okay, if I think excess of money circulation, it will lead to rise in the cost of goods. I think the issue of cost of goods. If there's excess of money and the price of goods are stable, that's not inflation. Inflation when there's rise in prices as a result of excess of fund in circulation. So that's what I thought is inflation. There must be rise in the cost of goods.
Okay, now, thank you very much for that, Mr. Alfred. But our concern in the class is not really about the increase in price of goods. All right, it's about the fact that as useful, as necessary, as important as money is in an economy, the circulation should be moderate. All right, the circulation of these resources we are talking about, as important, as necessary as it may be, should not be too much. Like you said, like we all said, if it's too much, then there'll be a problem of sudden hike in prices. All right, and if it is not available, then it becomes a problem to purchase basic necessities. All right, so definitely it must become scarce. All right, and making it scarce, not too available in circulation, makes people want to be frugal about utilizing it. That is the point. That is what finance is about. And that is why we have certain financial instruments that makes people get money, that enables people to raise capital because they don't have that capital to start that business. And they know fully well that if this business can be initiated, if this business can become a reality, I will make profit. All right. So now the bottom line is being a lubricant. Going back to where we said something is a lubricant. Lubricants are very, very essential. They are grease. All right. Some of us that has gates in our house or door, handles, fans. All right. If you lack lubricant in your appliances, it's a problem. And if it's also too much, it becomes a problem. So what are we saying in essence? All right. The rule, as we said, is that it is very essential that it should be moderate in circulation. So talking about finance now, when you get these resources, you need to use them, put them into good use, because if you lack utilizing them properly, if it goes, you run into debt, your business will fold up and you run into debt and you can end up losing more than what you have even before you start this business. Talking about businesses that you can even sell your property to pay up your debt. All right. And if you can manage it properly, then it's a win-win for you. So thank you very much for that, everyone. All right. So I think we'll continue from what it means by the internal and the external finance. Okay, Miss Miss Donald, can you please continue from there? The internal and the external finance, what it means by internal and external finance. Okay, Miss Wumi, probably you might just want to continue from that. I think Miss Donald is not, she
I'm
probably
here.
might can't hear.
I'm here.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
When we talk about internal finance, we are talking about this fund that is being contributed by a stockholder. It is money generated
Okay,
within, is internally generated money.
okay, wonderful.
Then if you're talking
Wonderful.
about external fund, it is a direct
Finance.
loan or
Mm.
or shares.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Mr. Alfred, please, you have anything to say on that? Internal and external finance. Mr. Alfred, do you have anything to say on that? Okay, Miss Wumi, are you there?
We talk,
Do you have anything to say on that?
well, hello. When we
Yes, please
talk
go
about
ahead, sir.
internal finance, we talk about internal finance, how it works. We talk about the equity fund. We talk about also. So,
Okay, please go ahead. Mr. Alfred, are you still there? Okay, Miss Wumi, please, you have the floor. Can you say something about what we're talking about?
okay, my network is back now.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
Yes, when you talk about internal finance are known as equity funds or equity.
Okay,
Those are funds that are solely owned by, that's it, the sole owners of the company. Those are funds that are solely owned by the owners of the company, which are internally generated funds. Funds that are
wonderful.
internally generated, that are owned by the shareholders. When you talk of external finance, those are funds that are being borrowed, debts, or that are borrowed from, or shares, that are borrowed shares or borrowed loans.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Miss Wumi, do you have anything to say about that? Miss Wumi, are you there? Now, Mr. Alfred, please, I need to quickly make
I
some
don't even hear
clarification.
again. Like I don't know if
Now,
it's my end. I don't know if it's from my hand or yours. The voice is really breaking. I didn't hear anything.
I can hear you now, loud and clear. I can hear you now. We've been talking about what it means by internal and external forms, all right? Finance, I mean to say. Now, what do you understand by internal finance and external finance?
Internal finance are funds that are generated internally
Yes, yes,
by the
I know you made
shareholders
your
of.
contribution, sir. I was referring to Miss Bumi. You made your contribution, sir. I was actually referring to Miss Bumi. Okay, I think Miss Bumi is really struggling with her
I
network.
said,
Now,
please, network, the voice is really breaking.
okay, it's okay, ma. It's fine.
I didn't hear
Just hope
anything.
your network stabilizes soon, so you don't get to miss anything. So, Mr. Alfred, I'd like to quickly. I think you mixed something up when you were giving your contribution, your input about internal and external finance. Now, in internal finance, we don't have shareholders. What we have are stakeholders, right? When we talk about shareholders now, we are talking about people from outside the organization, all right? People from outside. Now, let me expand something. Speaking of internal fund, now, internal fund is more like a contribution, right? A mutual contribution by stakeholders. Now, stakeholders are people we refer to as owners, all right? The creator of a business or somebody who is very particular and interested in a business, all right? More like people that makes things happen in the business, all right? Coming together that, okay, when we make profits in this year, we will not spend all our money, all right? We can keep certain amounts so that our capital can grow and we can expand. That is why it is called a mutual. You are not forced, you are not coerced, all right? You voluntarily bring money out and invest back into the business. So these people are called stakeholders, people that have something at stake. But when we talk about the external, all right, the external finance now, they are talking about people coming from outside to come and invest. Those ones are the shareholders. Are we together on this?
Let me get this clear. Is it the fund that is the internal or the external, or is it people, the stakeholders? Is it the
I didn't get
fund
that,
which is
sir.
my question is it the fund that make it the external, or it is the people which is the stakeholders?
Now, thank you very much for that question, sir. We are particular about finance here, and the financing coming from inside by the stakeholders, which is also called equity fund. All right. Don't forget that the term equity can also mean capital, meaning like capital fund. All right. The finance coming from inside, which is more like an equity fund, is given, all right, like in form of a mutual fund by the stakeholders. So they are not necessarily expecting a return. It is like, this is my company or this is our company. We are putting money into it. When money is invested into it, by the time we produce more, everybody smiles. But the finance coming from outside now is more like a loan, directly or indirectly. And those people giving that loan, those people investing, they are called the shareholders. I don't know if I've been able to answer the question or have my answers raised more questions.
So I have a question.
Please go ahead, ma.
The internal or equity fund, or sorry, the stakeholder, can they also be referred as partners?
Sure, they definitely, they can also be referred. But the stakeholders, what makes them different from shareholders? The stakeholders are the original owner of that business. So
Yes.
whether it is partnership or whether it is whatsoever it is, in as much as what really makes stakeholders different from shareholders, stakeholders are not particular about profits. They are just particular about the growth. They are very personal and deliberate about the growth of the business. They are not really after what is coming from what am I gaining. Their gain is the growth of the business. I don't know if I've been able to clarify, make more clarifications.
Sir, if I may understand you, sir,
Yes, please.
if internal finance have funds generated by the stakeholder internally, e.g., like equity
Yes,
funds.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that. I think we'll call it a wrap here because it's already 7 o'clock, and we should have ended this class before now. But it seems like I was enjoying the class, so I was carried away. I'm having the next class immediately by 7. It's even 7 p.m. already, and Miss Regina is going here already. So please, we'll have to call it a wrap here today. And in our next Telegram class, we'll be talking about the real markets. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. Alfred. Thank you, Mrs. Sunday Donald, Mrs. Me. Thank you very much. And I will be ending this class now so I can start the next class immediately. Do have a wonderful evening. Please, for those of us that are yet to submit our notes, please let's do to do that. It's highly essential. One way we use in measuring our progress in the class. All right. Do have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorial. Bye for now.
Bye.